Namaskar. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the India Habitat Center's Visual Arts Gallery, Art Vision, and Cree Foundation, it gives me the greatest pleasure to welcome all of you to the second day of the 3-day immersion into the Geet Govind via different art forms, literature, dance, and visual arts. This occasion marks the 25th year of Art Vision, and India Habitat Center's Visual Arts Gallery and Cree Foundation were delighted to come together and collaborate to celebrate this occasion, believing very strongly that collaborations are the way forward. In these 3 days of immersion into the Geet Govind, each day we have picked up a different Ashtapadi to enter into this 12th century Bhakti poetry. Yesterday, one of the most important questions asked was about the eroticism in the poem. And I think over the next 2 days, that's today and tomorrow, we will carry some of the themes of yesterday and some fresh ones. This 12th century poem is also arranged in 24 prabandhas, 12 chapters. And today's poem, Yahi Madhav, Yahi Keshav, is the 17th in the lineup. And we have to present the literary point of view with us today, Dr. Professor Raghunath Panda. Dr. Panda is a retired professor of Sanskrit from Utkal University, Bhubaneswar, and he's currently Professor Emeritus of the Kalinga Institute of Social Sciences, a deemed university. Formerly a member of the syndicate of Sri Jagannath Sanskrit University, Puri, Dr. Professor Raghunath Panda is a highly accomplished scholar with much writing to his credit, many books and several articles. He has also supervised over 20 PhDs, a recipient of the Nalco Kalidas Award and Sahitya Bhushan Award of Odisha. His special interest has been on Odisha's contribution to Sanskrit lyrics, which makes him a perfect choice for today's theme. Before I welcome Professor Panda, I'd like to just mention that we will be taking questions at the end of all 3 presentations, that is the presentation on literature by Professor Panda, the presentation in dance by Dr. Eliana Chittaristi, and the presentation in visual arts by Dr. Alka Pandey. So you are requested to please put in your questions into the chat box so that we can pick up these questions towards the end and have an interactive session. And with these words, it gives me the greatest joy to welcome Professor Panda to present his paper on the 17th song of the Geet Govind, Yahi Madhav, Yahi Keshav. Sir.
Om Niladri Kandara Nandi Mandaralaya Banditam Bande Bandaru Mandaram Indira Mandirang Maha शुक्लं ब्रह्म विचार सार परमां आद्यां जगद व्यापिनीं वीणा पुस्तक धारिणीं अभयदां जाड्यान्धकारापहां हस्ते स्फाटिक मालिकां विदधति पद्मासने संस्थितां वन्दे तां परमेश्वरीं भगवतीं बुद्धिप्रदां शारदां सा मे वसतु जिह्वायां वीणा पुस्तकधारिणी मुरारी वल्लभा देवी सर्वशुक्ला सरस्वती हरि ओम. A very good evening to all the ladies and gentlemen assembled in this webinar. The introduction and the content of the webinar has been well presented by Dr. Arshia Sethi. Today, we shall take up, yesterday we had already taken up one, that is Radha in the stage of Virahotkantita and Abhisarika. Both stages has been dealt with the Ashtapadi, that is Dhira Samire, Jamuna Tire, Basati Bane Banamali, and so on. Today, we have the 17th song in the 8th canto of Gita Govinda, which shows Radha in the Khandita shape of her position or a Naika, which Bharata Muni has put Ashtavidha Naika according to their romantic or erotic behavior in the drama and kavyas. So Khandita is that type of Naika when she observes that the Nayak or the hero approaches him after committing the sin of being with another woman for the whole night, and the Naika goes and longing for his company. He appears in the morning, and thus he is scolded and denounced by the heroine. She is known as Khandita Naika according to Bharata, and the following rhetoricians like Vishwanath Kabiraja in Sahitya Darpana also records the same fact. So now let us come to the Ashtapadi now. Under this context, Krishna appears before Radha in a fine morning, which was, the night was very difficult night for Radha to bear with the separation of Krishna. Now it is in Bhairavi Raga and Jati Tala. We are not very much accustomed in the Raga because musicians' duty is to do that. But manageably we can read like this. Rajani Janita Guru Jagar Raga Kasaita Mala Sanimesham Bahati Nayana Manuraga Sputa Miva Sputa Mudita Rasa Bhinivesham Hari Hari Yahi Madhava Yahi Kesava Ma Badakaitava Badam Tamanusara Sarasiru Halochana Yatava Harati Visadam. Now Radha is not ready to accept Krishna. Therefore, she, in a scolding voice, with her love inside, she speaks to Krishna, bloodshot from this sleepless night of passion, listless now. That means no love for you in my mind now. Your eyes express the mood of awakened love that you enjoyed with some other person. Therefore, go away, Madhava. Go, Kesava. Leave me. Don't plead your lies with me. Kaitavavadam is pretending lies. Go after her, that Naika. O Krishna, she will ease your despair. Then, in the second pada, we can continue with Kajjala Marina Bilochana Chumbana Virachita Nilima Rupam Dasana Basana Marunam Tava Krishna Tanoti Tanu Ranurupam Hari Hari Yahi Madhava Yahi Kesava Tamabadakaitababadam Tamanusara Sarasiruhalochana. He has a very good invocation for Krishna. Sarasiruhalochana, whose eyes can be compared with the petals of the lotus. Sarasiruhalochana Yatabaharati Visadam. Janaika Taba Visadam Harati. That lady who is ready to propitiate your desire, go to her. You have no use of Radha anymore. That is put by Barbara Stoller Miller, whose name has been recited by our presenter. Dark from kissing her coal blackened eyes, at dawn your lips match your body's color, O Krishna. Everybody knows that Krishna, as the name indicates, his body was of blue or black color. Therefore, she says, go away, Madhava, go Kesava, leave me, don't plead your lies, don't plead your innocence before me, because I know your activities quite well. Go after her, O Krishna, she will ease your despair. The third pada follows immediately. There Radha complains, again her complaints continue, and scolding Krishna is continued by these lines. Bapuranu harati tabasmara sangara kharanakshatarekam. Sangara means your body presents. Tabasmara sangara. Smara sangara mane pranaya juddha, means the fighting in the love play of Cupid. Kharana khara chatarekam marakata sakala kalita kala dhauta liperi bharati jayalekham. Hari Hari yahi madhava yahi kesava mabadakaitababadam tamanusara sarasiruhalochana yatabaharati visadam. The third pada is translated by Professor Miller, is with scratches of sharp nails in the battle of love, that Kalpita or imagined woman is put in mind of Radha now. He says that of sharp nails of the battle of love, your body tells the triumph of passion in gold, writing on sapphire, because Krishna's complexion is like sapphire, Indra Nilamani, or sapphire stone, which is in dark in color or blue in color. Your body tells that you have triumphed over in love's play. On your body, golden letters as if been written by the sharp nail marks of your beloved. Therefore, she says, go away, Madhava, go away, Kesava, leave me. Don't plead your lies with me. Go after her only, O Krishna. She will ease your despair. After that, the sixth verse we are going to present today, that is Bahiribamalina tava Krishna manopi bhavishyati nunam kathamatha vanchaya se janamanugata masamasara jwaradunam. Hari Hari yahi madhava yahi kesava mabadakaitabavadam tamanusara sarasiruhalochana yatabaharati visadam, which is put forward by our translator and a great scholar like Milan. Dark Krishna, heart, your heart must have been baser black or more black, more deeper than your skin. Your heart is dark. Darkness here represents the presenter of the sin. There is a tradition in Sanskrit literature, Malinyam Vyamni Pape Jasasi Dhavalata Varnyate Hasakirtyo, where there is question of sin. In the case of the description of the sky, of the sea, of the river, then this black color or the blue color is brought into picture. So your heart is black, that means you are a sinner. Your dark Krishna, your heart must be better black than your skin. How can you deceive a faithful creature? Anugata. A faithful person is known as Anugata, a faithful creature tortured by favors of love. Who deserves love, you have insulted her, you have tortured her. This is not certainly pardonable. Therefore, she says, go away, Madhava, go Kesava, leave me, don't plead of your lies with me, go after her. She only will ease your despair. The next pada is the signature song of Jayadeva, where Jayadeva says, Sri Jayadeva Bhanita Rati Vanchita Khandita Yuvati Bilapam Srunuta Sudha Madhurang Vibudha Vibhudhalayatopi Durapam. Jayadeva claims that his poetry is equal to the nectar or the ambrosia of the heaven. He says, Jayadeva sings the lament of a jealous girl, deceived by passion. Listen, O sages, listen, O intelligent people. Heaven rarely yields such sweet nectar or sweet elixir that I am giving by the writing of my pen. Go away, Madhava, go Kesava, leave me. Don't plead your lies with me. Go after her, Krishna. She will ease your despair. And the poet very well knew about the Ashtanayikas and the tidbits of the Kavya Shastra, what to be displayed and what not to be. So at times it appears that it may be an erotic Kavya, but erotic is considered as the principal sentiment in Kavya, including the drama or the Drishya Kavya. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Now let us see the beautiful dance of Dr. Padmasri Ileana Sitarist. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Dr. Panda. Thank you for introducing us to this Ashtapadi. We will continue exploring it through dance and the Geet Govind through visual arts. We do know, as Dr. Panda has mentioned, that probably the most popular translation is that of Barbara Stoller Miller. But you know, there are many translations of the Geet Govind as well. Starting, the English translations began from 1792 with William Jones's translation being the first. And had he not done it, we probably may not have had Goethe reading the translation of Geet Govind as the translation which was done by F.H. Dalberg, and Dalberg's translation was based on Jones's. So from 1792, there is this whole process of translating it into English and making it available to us. But we also know that from the 14th century onwards, there have been many commentaries and inspired writing from the Geet Govind. We'll talk about that maybe at a later point, maybe when we come to the question and answer. But for now, it is the time for dance. And we're going to request Dr. Ileana Chittaristi, who is herself an Odissi and Chow dancer, to say a few words. But before inviting her on, a few words about Ileana herself. Since 1979, Ileana, who hails originally from Italy, has made India her home. She has been based in Bhubaneswar, where she teaches, dances, choreographs, and writes extensively on the Odishan culture. She has written a very, very interesting autobiography, My Journey, A Tale of Two Births, which was published in 2016. And Cree Foundation was fortunate enough to present it here in Delhi, to present its launch here in Delhi. But two very important books that she has written additionally are the one that is based on her guru's, which is a biography of a guru, Guru Kelucharan Mahapatra. It's called The Making of a Guru. Kelucharan Mahapatra, His Life and Times. and her book on the traditional martial arts practices of Odisha, which was done in 2012. She has a forthcoming book coming out soon on the rituals of the Jagannath temple. Ileana, a recipient of the Padma Shri and of the National Award for Choreography in Films. It was in 1976 that she received this award for her choreography of a dance sequence using Chow, interestingly, in Aparna Sen's Yugant, I think. So Ileana and I have known each other for many years. She has been a great inspiration for a lot of us. And together we have been pushing the issue of dance and the camera and hosting festivals of dance films. Her work, when I see it, is a very interesting spectrum of the traditional, which she inherited from her guru, and the way she has extended its reach by incorporating new themes, contemporary themes, modern themes, and rarer moments of spiritual wisdom in India, as well as using related arts. Martial arts, for instance, is one form that she has used extensively, not just in Chow, in which she has been trained herself, but some other lesser known dance form, martial arts forms like Malkham too. Today, I'm going to request her to first say a few words about this choreography that she will dance of Yai Madhav, and then let us see the dance and enter the Ashtapadi via the dance. Welcome, Ileana. Thank you.
Hello to everybody, and thanks a lot, Arsha, of this extensive introduction that you have given. The first version of the 17th song of the poem was choreographed by Guru Gurucharan Mohapatra for Sanjukta Panigrahi, and that it was in the early 60s. By that time, the first version didn't, it was just a direct interpretation of the lyrical poem without any amplification or auxiliary bhava, as we call Sanchari bhava. By the time the composition was reached the early 80s and it was taught by, to us, Guruji had included many elements which made this composition, this choreography, so rich and interesting and deep. So one of the elements which he introduced were the answer of Krishna to the accusation of Radha. So which are not there in the text, but it is a sort of implicit in a sense that one can read inside the lines and get inspired, but what they actually, the poem is not explicitly says, but we can deduce from it. So, and these answers are to be found in the medieval Oriya literature. So all the songs, Oriya songs especially, which made to compositions of poems very similar to the Git Govinda, maybe in Oriya, or even in Sanskrit, which were later in the medieval period composed by the Oriya writers. All these added anecdotes, from which the modern composer, the choreographers of the Odyssey especially got inspired and to enrich the canvas. So what are the answers? When Radha says, okay, what is this? She accuses him of having having kissed the kajal from the eyes of the other lady, and the black remained on his lips. And he says, no, this one, I went to eat berries, and the juice of the berries, the blackberries, that remain on my lips. So that is nothing that you are thinking. What about you are thinking about? And and what happened to the what are these marks? That the nails of the other women left on your chest. Oh, no, 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 that I went to search for a special flower for your hair, and the jungle was very thorny, bushes all over, and the thorns scratched my chest. I see, and what happened to that little bit of blood which has remained on your lips? Oh, that because I was teaching Sangita songs to parrots, and the parrots mistake my lips for a fruit, and he bite me. So these are the answer which we found in the Oriya medieval literature, which Guruji was very much acquainted with because he spent 12 years of his childhood and young age in the Krishna Lila of Mohan Sundardeva Goswami. So where all these songs were incorporated in the Leelas. So, but so cleverly, so nice, so beautifully, he has incorporated in a way that it doesn't take away from the pathos of the song, which is actually reaching a climax towards the end, where he has also, for example, incorporated the action of Radha, showing to Krishna how everything which she had prepared for his arrival got withered, like this, the flowers with the bed flowers which he had prepared for him they've become faded, and the garland also has faded, and the chandan which she has prepared so lovely for decorating him has become dry, and the lamp has no more flame in it. And also her attire, the jewelry, everything is become faded. So this build up to the climax point of her pathos or pathological and state of mind. So these are all things which has been added later on, which were not there in the first version. So it's very interesting to see how even the Ashtapadi of the last century has grown along with the maturity of the choreographer, maturity of the dancers who are portraying it, and acceptance also of the fact that Gita Govinda came to be very much part of the Odissi dance. So so the version which I'm presenting, it is the one which I learned from Guruji in the early 80s, and through so many workshops being again polished and revised and polished, and I really kept it. I like to keep it as much as possible original, and it is also presented with the music track which was used by Guruji for teaching us. So this is Raga Bhairavi and Jyoti Tala, and I ask now Shushanto to put on the video. Thank you.
रजनी जनित गुरु जागर राग कषायितं अलस अलस निवेशम् रजनी जनित गुरु जागर राग कषायितं अलस निवेशम् अलस निवेशम् अलस निवेशम् वहति नयनम् अनुरागमिव स्फुट वहति नयनम् अनुरागमिव स्फुट मुदित रसाविनिवेशम् हरि 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 याहि माधव याहि केशव मावद कैतव वादम् मावद कैतव वादम् याहि माधव याहि केशव मावद कैतव वादम् मावद कैतव वादम् तामनु
Thank you very much, Ileana, for this absolutely moving representation of Radha, who is deeply hurt in this song. It was also very interesting to hear from you how Guruji added on the layers of the replies of Krishna, drawn from his life in the theater, dance theater time, when he knew so much about the medieval poetry of Odisha. This has really come as a very interesting way of how organically choreographies grow. Now, we all know that the sensitivity with which the poetry has been written, the emotions that it contains, the possibilities of Sancharis, the Naika prominence, the Naika Bhed prominence, the Naika Ashtanaika's reflections, all make it ideal material for dance. And so we find Geet Govind reflected in many dance traditions of India, although it is very prominent in Odissi. So we know that we find it in Kerala, we find it in Manipuri. But I would like to suggest that possibly it was there in more dance traditions, and that over time we have lost it. Why do I say this? Is because in the 1976 Kannada film that got the national award for Kannada films, this was a film called Hamsa Geete, and it was based on a novel of T.R. Subbarao. It reflected the real life story of a Carnatic musician called Bhairavi Venkata Subbaiah. So this was actually, I think, Anant Nag's first film, and Anant Nag played the role of Bhairavi Venkata Subbaiah. In this film, there is a depiction of Geet Govind's Ashtapadis, which were danced then by Jai Lakshmi Ishwar, the Bharatnatyam dancer, and Rekha Rao, who was the actress who played the heroine's role. Now, the interesting thing is that if they were depicting the culture of 18th century Karnataka, and we have actually a representation at that moment of Tipu Sultan also, possibly there was a tradition of dancing Geet Govind there too, but we have lost it. What we have, however, a lot more are the tangible paintings. So reflecting the visual representation of Geet Govind are also the numerous folios belonging to different schools of miniature paintings, of traditional paintings, Patchitra. Invitation card bears the Patchitra images. And to talk about Geet Govind in visual arts, we have with us Dr. Alka Pandey, art historian who has been a professor of Indian art and aesthetics at Punjab University for more than a decade. She has an enduring interest in gender identity and sexuality in traditional arts, and has built her work, which is a very big body of writing, more than 16 books. And believe you me, I think she's particularly prolific because she writes also quite fast. Anyway, she was a recipient of the Charles Wallace India Trust, where during which period she conducted her research at postdoctoral research at Goldsmith University in London. In 2006, she was awarded the Knight of the Order of Arts and Letters, an honor that is presented by the French government in recognition of significant contributions to the field of art and literature. This was followed in 2009 with the Australian Indian Council Special Award for her contributions. And in 2015, Amrita Shergill Samman, presented by the Chandigarh Lalit Kala Academy, came her way as well. She is the artistic director of the Habitat Photosphere, the prestigious Photography Biennale, and the project director of the first ever Museum Biennale in India, which is the title, the Bihar Museum Biennale. A curator of international repute, she is consultant, art advisor, and curator for the Visual Arts Gallery of India Habitat Center, one of the co-organizers of this series, 3-day series of immersion into the Geet Govind. I welcome Dr. Pandey and request her to make this presentation, in which through visuals of the many beautiful images of miniature and traditional paintings, she will give us an insight into the visual culture around Geet Govind. Welcome, Alka. You're muted.
Namaskar and hello everyone. I'm delighted to be with you again in the celebration of Jayadev's Geet Govind. One of the most beautiful lyrical poetry on the celebration of the love, longing and desire, the Adbhuta Rasa of Bhakti, the divine lovers Radha and Krishna, which have been penned by Jayadev in his inimitable style. And whenever I think of Jayadev's Geet Govind, which is in Sanskrit, the wider dissemination of the poem has been done by Barbara Stoller Miller, who was a professor of Oriental Studies at Barnard College, Columbia University. Barbara Stoller Miller, has from the outside in looked at this unusual, deep, very, very intense love, sacred, divine, spiritual, even in some ways having undertones of temporal love between Radha and Krishna. Out of the 24 songs, which have 8 couplets each, that's why they're known as the Ashtapadis, Jayadev celebrates the different moods. And as I had said yesterday, the rasas, which come into the standard format of the Navarasas, which were expounded in the Natya Shastra of Bharat. The Ashtapadi, Yahi Madhava, Yahi Keshava, Mavada Kaitava Vadabam, is a beautiful kind of intensity of the love and separation, of the anguish of separation between Radha and Krishna. And again, I want to express my understanding of this Ashtapadi through the visual language of different artists, from the artists of the Pahadi Kalam, Rajasthani, the Urissan Patachitras. I want to really enter into Yahi Madhav, Yahi Keshava through the language of the miniature artists. This Patachitra has been done by Rabindranath Sahu. You see a very beautiful kind of explanation by the artist, where Krishna comes from the sleepless night of passion and is almost listless. Radha is anguished at the thought of the fact that Madhav has spent the night with somebody else. She says, damn you, Madhav, go Keshav, leave me alone. Don't plead with your lies with me. And she's sitting demure in her chamber while Krishna waits outside for her. A beautiful painting from the Kangra Kalam, which again shows the relationship between Radha and Krishna. And Radha is telling Krishna, get away from me. Get away from me, you Madhav. Don't again plead with your lies with me. Go after her, Krishna. She will ease your despair. The lovely, beautiful, vibrant yellow with the deep teal green of the trees, and Radha and Krishna looking as the central figures in this lovely landscape. From the Ragamala series, I've taken a image of Radha and Krishna, which talk of which actually illustrate to some extent the tenor and the language of this particular Ashtapadi, where etched with scratches of sharp nails in the battle of love, your body tells the triumph of passion in gold, writing on sapphire. So this is a beautiful image of the Rajasthani school that you see how Krishna and Radha are talking to each other. Now, this is a Kali Ghat painting, which I'm showing you. The Kali Ghat school of art, which is very different to actually the Orison and the Kangra paintings or the Basholi paintings. The Kali Ghat painting actually comes from West Bengal, which has a kind of a more minimal way of expressing. Here Radha is shown sitting under a tree and Krishna is, kind of prostrate at her feet. And again, these are very strong lines. And what you see in this is a typical idiom of the Kali Ghat school, a very folk idiom, which Jamini Roy later uses as part of the minimalism of the strong lines. This is 19th century Kolkata. It was, these images also had a lot of satire, but this particular image of the Kali Ghat school moves away from the social satire of the period and is also moving away from the very strong Devi Bhakti and is moving into Vaishnav Bhakti. Beautiful Kangra painting again, where the image of the Radha, who is really sad, and the entire stance of her body shows her despair and her lament at the fact that her lover has come back to her after spending a night with someone else. Basholi paintings, which are very, very different to the Kali Ghat and the Pahadi school. These are strong. They also have vivid, evocative colors, as you can see, bold lines and deep set facial patterns. And this style of painting we see in the Pahadi school in a town called Basholi, which is in the Kathua district in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. This school of painting had the patronage of Raja Bhupat Pal Singh in the 16th century, and they are the precursors to the Pahadi paintings. Many of them have evolved into much more detailed and widespread style of paintings of the Kangra school. What we see has the Basholi paintings have a peculiar characteristic. They have perfect geometrical patterns, bright colors, which are glossy, almost enamel-like. And with these bold colors, they are always having a lot of brilliant browns and greens predominating. The figures in the paintings are shown clad in rich costumes. The facial features are stylized, large eyes, almost bulging eyes. And of course, the popular themes of these paintings were done particularly for the patronage of the local rulers. They had Hindu gods and goddesses from Hindu mythology, and particularly the love themes of Radha and Krishna, Madhav and Malati, and many, many themes from the Bhagavad Puran. This image is from the Kangra school of painting, And here you see different registers in a very flat school, highly ornate, very stylized, rather beautiful. And again, Radha is telling Krishna, go away from me. Don't plead your lies with me. This is yet another painting from the Ragamala series, which I've selected, where Jayadev's lament of a jealous girl deceived by passion is shown, and Krishna is trying to woo her back with the sound of his bansuri. Here is Krishna again, looking at the gopis, alluring them, enticing them with the sound of his bansuri, and Radha is watching from afar and is telling him that, leave me alone as I watch you, watching you, alluring the different gopis into your charm. Now, here is Radha actually telling and speaking about her own loss in this particular Ragmala series. This is not directly related to the Ashtapadi, but I'm showing you a different context of Radha sitting in her chamber and telling Krishna, who's dressed differently in this particular image, go away, leave me alone, and don't cause me more shame than sorrow. I hope you've enjoyed my looking at Yahi Madhav, Yahi Keshav, and I'm happy to respond to any questions from you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alka. It has been, as always, a very interesting journey through the visuals and the colors. And I am almost compelled to ask you at this stage, sort of misusing my position here, to tell us a little bit about the symbolism of colors that we see very often in paintings, the fact that Radha was always sort of a golden-skinned person, and Krishna was always this dark-skinned person, the crossover dressing that we find in the visual arts from India. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, Arshia. Am I audible?
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yeah. Yes, Alka.
Am I audible?
Yes, Alka, you're fine.
Okay. So just to say that, you know, Indian art, particularly traditional and medieval art, from which I've shown you all these images, were full of symbolism. And a lot of it had to do with the availability of material as well. In the imagination and in the written texts and many, you know, the kavya or the imagination of poets and painters, sometimes there was a sync, sometimes the poetic imagination of the artist went to another level. But Radha is always shown as fair, as beautiful and fair. Krishna is always known to have a dark skin, and he is also known as the blue god. So that's why many of the artists paint him in a blue color. And these are all, you know, in painting is illusional, allusional, and allegorical. So there are allegories to it. It is also illusional, as I said, allusional as well. How do the artists allude to a particular motif or a divine person or a suprahuman being? And Radha and Krishna have always been suprahuman beings. They are beyond the human mortals. So they are looked upon in colors also, which are normally not used for humans, I mean mortals. That's the way I would say that.
Thank you very much. Dr. Panda, I'd like to ask you one question, and that is that
Madam, At the outset, I will add one point to the question you asked, Dr. Pandey.
Okay.
So that the sky is blue, the oceans are blue, the woods are blue, the mountains are blue. You see how the nature is pervaded by the blue color. Therefore, Vishnu Vyapto iti dhatu. That means who has pervaded everywhere is of blue color. That is Lord Vishnu, therefore. Therefore, in the Dhyana mantra of Vishnu, Shantakaram Bhujagasayanam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadharam Gagana Sadrusam Meghavarnam Suresham. So Lord Vishnu is Meghavarna, is blue or black. Jagannatha at Puri temple is also black. So this Vishnu is, therefore Bhagavan Vishnu is conceived to be of blue color, and Krishna being an avatar or avatari. The Odishan Vaishnavism puts him as an avatar of Lord Jagannath. In Bengal Vaishnavism, he is put as Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Therefore, Krishna is always black in our culture throughout the country. That's all.
Thank you very much. Yesterday, you also mentioned that Radha wears a Nilambari sari as though she's carrying Krishna with her all the time. Right. So the question originally I meant for you, Dr. Panda, was, you know, Ileana showed how beautifully the Ashtapadi's choreography evolved over time. As Guruji got new ideas, he was able to include the Sancharis of Krishna's replies to all the allegations. So obviously the literary medium is very strong, continuous, and is compelled to keep reasserting itself. So are there any recent writings that are either inspired with or reflect the spirit of Geet Govind in today's contemporary times, in any of the languages, since we have so many languages that have carried the Geet Govind?
In the Sanskrit language in which Gita Govinda was composed by Jayadeva, even was followed by his latter writers. And a decade ago, Dr. Banmali Rath of Berhampur Ganjam has published a book called Imitations of Jayadeva's Gita Govinda. There he had shown 137 imitations of Jayadeva's Gita Govinda in Sanskrit from throughout the country. And at present times, in regional languages also, there are enough of publications found in Odisha, particularly as I know, and in other local literatures that may be being published. You have also given the example of the Kannada film, how in that time at Karnataka, the Gita Govinda tradition was also being very much liked. Therefore, people were bent upon in building or preparing or making films on that say particular theme. So it gives an indication, like Sthali Bula Kanyaya, or if you taste one rice from the bowl, whether rice is ready or not, the whole bowl can be known. Similarly, from one province or two, or even Bengal, many works are also being written nowadays. So Bengal is having a very thickly populated state. We have a state where 4 crores of population there, they have more than 8 crores in the smaller state. Therefore, in Bengal, there is much literary activity. Therefore, in their part of the country, even Odia films were first being prepared in Bengal, in Madras. Thus, from the films, Jayadeva itself, on Jayadeva, 3-4 films in Odia has already been done. So that is so popular theme even till nowadays. And works of Ramakant Rath, the great literature who was president of the Central Sahitya Academy, has written a very long kavya in Odia on Sri Radha. Obviously, when Radha will come, Krishna cannot remain far away. They have been dealt with in detail. And here now, within 2-3 years, one institution has been started called Dhara Sri Radha. Where if from the center you read to the left, it is Sri Radha. from the left side, and to the right side also it is read as Sri Radha. So their effort had also been to popularize this Radha and Krishna cult in their literature, which is a very recent publication.
Thank
And
you.
in my
This
book,
is, sorry.
my book, Contribution of Odisha to Sanskrit Literature, it contains about 250 books around. And there also I have given sufficient bibliography, what modern works are also being written on the Jayadev's Gita Govinda theme.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Ileana, can I ask you the last question then, which is that have there been some contemporary treatments to Geet Govind, or have there been the same sort of treatments? That means solo Ashtapadis or something like that? You need to unmute yourself, Ileana.
Before answering to this, I would like just to add that the wild dissemination of the Gita Govinda, we have to give credit also to the Jagannath temple, because it's a pilgrimage place, and from the very beginning being sang every day and dance every day in that temple, and with all the pilgrims from all over India coming there, they could bring back the feeling and of this poem and spread it in their own place. So that was the focus, the central point from where this great spread out happened, because and I think it's very important to highlight that. So as far as treatment, I would say that I don't. Yeah, he has already mentioned that there are few contemporary work, literary work, which also have inspired some dance choreography. Some dancer has done some composition on this contemporary remake of Gita Govinda, a reinterpretation of Gita Govinda. But even the tradition, I mean, I don't know, it's so rich that every time I perform, I find something new in it. So you don't even actually have to go and search for very strange way of or interpretation to make it alive. It is it's something, is a source of inspiration which is perennial, perpetual. So it's so even when you call it's never reaching that point. So the interpretation of this Ashtapadi are renewing themselves every time for which each artist is interpreting it. So that is, I think, the strength of this poem.
So actually, I have a follow-up question to that. The reason I asked you this question was because you remember there was this one very interesting treatment where you had three styles coming together. Sonal Mansingh was Radha in Odissi, and I think Lakshmi Vishwanathan was the Sakhi doing Bharatnatyam, and Kathakali was Krishna or something like that. And so that was an interesting treatment, but we actually have a very important question that's coming up, which is why are the Abhinay, male Abhinays in Geet Govind performed very little?
They are also less in number. The song attributed to Krishna, and then much more the one attributed to Sakhi and to Radha. But Vadasi Adi Kinchita is of course the one which is the most famous as far as Krishna's Abhinaya, and because also of not only of the meaning, the final surrender of Krishna, but also about all the folkloric and allegoric and mythological background which this Ashtapadi carries. The fact that was Krishna himself who came under the disguise of Jayadev to write the Depada Pallava Mudaram. So this makes, and I remember Guruji saying that when he was performing it as Krishna, because he was usually performing as Krishna in the Krishna Lila of Sundar Deva Goswami, he was fainting actually on the stage. And in the Krishna Lila, it was not only Satvika Baba, but it was actually the tears were real, the fainting was real. So the Mahasundadeva Goswami would never be enough satisfied the way Krishna would portray that particular action of asking for Radha to put her foot on his head. So Guruji himself, the dancer who was portraying this in a dance drama choreographed by Guruji, he was telling that he made me repeat these things so many times, 20 times, and he was never satisfied about the way I was doing. So this is, of course, the highlight of Krishna's Abhinaya in Gita Govinda. But there are another probably 2 or 3 songs which are attributed to Krishna, and the maximum are female song with Krishna as a character like in Yahi Madhava is, but also the Saki very often interpreted, not only refers to Radha what Krishna is doing, but she is also interpreting and becoming Krishna in narrating Krishna to Radha. So the role of the male role is actually there also in the songs which are more attributed to the female character. So,
you know, Ileana, if I ever danced in my life and if I were to do Geet Govind, I think the biggest challenge would be Priya Charushile. It would be, you know, it would need transgender artistry. That's at another level, but the words are the most powerful. So while there may be in numbers less poems that men can dance as such, unless they are willing to take on the challenge of transgender artistry, if they were to dance male pieces, the numbers may be less. But I think by far the most powerful piece is given to a male to perform in this. So let me just see if we have any other questions here. Kishalaya Sayana Vadasi Adi in Odissi. I'm afraid, Viswajit, if that is a question, it's sort of incomplete. But I hope we will meet you tomorrow. And we can continue this conversation again tomorrow at 7 o'clock when we meet for the third and last day of this 3-day immersion into Geet Govind. And there are no prizes for guessing which Ashtapadi is for the last day. I won't say it, but I'm sure all of you know it. So we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Panda Sahab.
Actually, Professor Priyambada Mahanti Hezmadi, former Vice Chancellor of Sambalpur University, is present. He is also a very famous Odisha dancer and teacher. So may we ask her a question regarding the performance of our seminar? She will be liking to speak.
Yes, Priyambada ji, may we ask you to please turn on your mic and turn on your camera, and maybe we can hear from you, because yesterday after the presentation we spoke to each other, we were in contact, and she told me a very interesting story. I actually was hoping to bring that story up tomorrow, but as a prelude for tomorrow, maybe you can share with us the 2 stories, one in which the flowers are discussed, and the other one on how Kuru Yadunandan, gets its danced form. Can you come on, Priyambada ji? I think she may not be prepared for it. So anyway, I will prepare her and have her come on tomorrow to tell us this story. If it's okay by you, we will definitely have her on tomorrow then, right? Thank you very much.
Thanks
a lot. Thank you,
so
Alpha.
much.
I know how difficult it has been for you to be able to manage all your movements and this program. So grateful. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye,
Bye.
Liana. Thank you.
Bye.
Namaste,
Thank you.
Dr. Professor Panda. And we see you all, dear friends, tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Do remember that today's program is on the Facebook page of Art Vision, as well tomorrow's program. And yesterday's is also there. So even if you've missed us in the live thing, catch us on the Facebook page of Art Vision. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank the entire team of India Habitat Center that's making this technology possible for us to meet on. Bye.